Hi guys, I just wanted to do a quick update video on this Aravaipa avocado I got from Seamus O'Leary's in 2018. So I planted this in fall of 2018. It's made it through a few summers. It's made it through the winters fine. The summers it comes out a little crispy at the end of the leaves. It's end of April now, and it's put on its kind of spring flush. It's put on these huge leaves. It looks as good as ever. When I first planted it that following spring, it actually produced flowers, but none of them produced fruit. And then through now, it hasn't produced any fruit. I think next year it will, because I pruned it last year. I had to prune the bottom branches last year, and I think that may have done something to the tree or caused it to react in such a way where it didn't produce flowers. So last summer was super hot, almost 2 weeks in the high teens, like multiple days at 115, and this tree took it like a champ. Right now it's grown about 10 inches this spring. It didn't grow a lot last year. I'm 6'2", so my head is about right here. So you can see this tree is probably 7 feet, call it. What I ended up doing is taking a white latex paint to protect it from sunburn and cutting it with water 50%, so it wasn't too thick, so you could have some gas transfer. And I ended up painting the main trunk and onto the stems as best I could. And I think that's helped it a lot. So these unprotected stems, they'll actually come out of the summer with a yellow look to them, where the sun has kind of burned them. But they do fine, no issues whatsoever. This tree just gets hammered by the wind, and I ended up putting up this, I had these little metal stakes I got from Lowe's, and ended up putting a big wooden stake up this week. As you can see, this tree is kind of grown crooked, and then it's gone straight. So from about this point on, it's straight, but that suits me fine. It just moves it away from the house so it can get a little more spread from the branches as it gets bigger. I don't have any issue with that. This ground that it's planted in is just terrible. It's really heavy caliche, a lot of clay in the soil, very hard to dig. Out of all the spots in my yard, I thought, well, this has got to be the worst. But I kind of went above and beyond to excavate and get good soil in here. I have a little bit of native soil in there as well. Last year, what I ended up doing is I moved the. So when I first planted this tree, I amended the soil to about where my foot is, and then I ended up taking a trenching shovel and amending it out another foot, because I was concerned that as the roots spread, it might stunt the growth of the tree or cause some issue if it started to grow into the native soil, which is not good. But what I've been doing with the native soil is treating it with sulfur. I buy a big 50-pound bag of sulfur from Aravaipa Organics, I think that's how you say it, and just spreading that on the ground, and it's actually helped drop the pH, and it actually helps convert caliche to the gypsum form of calcium. So sulfur is great stuff for that. And it's taken it from around 8 to 7.2, 7.1 over time. But I do that once or twice a year. I treat it with sulfur. I just put it in a spreader and spread it like you would grass seed or fertilizer. I don't fertilize this tree with granular fertilizer because it's susceptible to salt burn. I fertilize it with fish emulsion. So coming down here, sorry, my finger keeps getting in the way. Here's the original. Here's the graft, and you can see this is the root stock, and then here you have this section of the grafted Aravaipa that's now producing bark. So it started to produce bark early on, but it's starting to bark up really nicely now. And then as you move up, that bark just kind of disappears. But like I said, these leaves are huge. These are the biggest they've been on this tree. It'll produce about 3 flushes, so it has its spring flush, which is its best. It has, after it crisps in the summer, it'll produce kind of a mid-year flush and drop those leaves, and then it'll do another smaller flush in the winter. So 2 to 3 times a year it'll produce new leaves. As far as the wood chips, they started to compost down into soil. What I ended up doing, because I don't want the roots growing up into that soil, I cleared all the wood chips. Sorry, my finger's in the way. I cleared all the wood chips and ended up just kind of grading back the soil, removing that composted soil, and putting in new wood chips over that to keep that moisture in and kind of keep that insulation there and just keep the roots down where I want them to be. I know the composting wood chips is good, but I just kept, I don't want to have a big mound of dirt over the tree. Anyways, that's my update on the Aravaipa avocado. Going strong. Hope to have fruit. Made it through a terrible summer last year. Makes it fine for the winter. Really excited to see how this tree turns out. Thanks for watching.